have the opportunity to introduce our student speakers, Tanya Raghu and Liam Versus. Tanya Raghu is a Plan 2 Middle Eastern Studies and Middle Eastern Languages and Cultures graduate. She's a scholar in the Arabic Flagship Program, received a Foreign Language Area Studies Fellowship for her Arabic coursework, and was part of a winning student-faculty team for the 2020-2021 President's Award for Global Learning for a project pertaining to water scarcity in Texas and Jordan. On campus, Tanya served as a Plan 2 Student Association Diversity Co-Chair and helped to spearhead the 2019-2020 Plan 2 Honors Diversity and Inclusion Report. It was a spectacular document. She has held internships at the World Affairs Council of Austin and Texas State Capitol, and was an undergraduate fellow at the Clement Center for National Security, a Brumley Scholar at the Robert Strauss Center for International Security Law, and a Texas Civic Ambassador in the Annette Strauss Institute for Civic Life. Next year, Tanya will hold a Boren Scholarship in Amman, Jordan, and ultimately plans to attend law school, where she will focus on human and civil rights. Liam Versus is a graduate of the Environmental Engineering Honors and Plan 2 Honors Program. During his time at UT, Liam traveled abroad to Costa Rica and Ecuador to study sustainable architecture and land development. Stateside, he interned at the Center for Water Security and the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., and volunteered with Engineers Without Borders to overhaul a water system in rural Tanzania. On campus, Liam worked as an undergraduate research assistant in a socio-technical systems research group exploring engineering ethics and water infrastructure in rural Alaska under an NSF grant. He was an undergraduate fellow at the Clements Center for National Security and a Brumley Next Gen Scholar at the Strauss Center for International Security and Law. In addition, Liam has served his peers in various roles in the Student Engineering Council, Student Conduct Board, Student Government. Beginning in August 2022, Liam will be working at MITRE Corporation in McLean, Virginia. There, he will support the development and application of analytical models to environmental, energy, and public policy challenges for the federal government. Liam looks forward to supporting MITRE in its dedication to, quote, solving the problems of the world, for a safer world. Tanya and Liam, the podium is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I will start this speech with an introduction familiar to the graduates in this room. Hi, my name is Liam Versus. I'm a fifth-year environmental engineering and Plan 2 honors double major, and my hometown is San Antonio, Texas. A fun fact about me is that for the last few years, I've been working on a mural. It's about this tall, 5'11", but why don't we just say 6 feet? And about this wide, it looks a lot like me. But this mural, however, is not a piece of artwork in the sense you may be thinking. Rather, it's a mosaic, a composite image of individual tiles, each representing the people, places, and things UT and Plan 2 have given to me these last few years. So many of us arrived on campus thinking that what we were walking away with was a transcript, but we ended up with so much more. My first home on UT's campus was the Daily Texan. I'm sure many of the graduates in this room can think back to their freshman year and remember what that first sense of belonging was like for them. A club sport, their residence hall, an organization, maybe even a FIG. For me, the Daily Texan gave me a platform and a voice, and the basement of the HSM building became the first tile in my mosaic. But of course, each UT experience I had opened new doors. For example, it was during my time at the Daily Texan that I met Dr. Leonard Moore. And through my most challenging semester at UT, Dr. Moore imparted to me that while in life we may juggle many responsibilities, some are like rubber and others are like glass. That is, some things, like a job, you can drop and later revisit. Others, like your health and your relationships, shatter if you neglect them. Dr. Moore was my second tile. It was at this inflection point in my time on campus that I found out that my education was more about how the things I learned applied outside the classroom and less about acing the class. For instance, Professor George Christian, my freshman world lit professor, introduced me to the religions of the world: Islam, Hinduism, even a reintroduction to Christianity. Through reading these religious texts, I found out that there is more that unites humanity than divides us. Professor Janet Davis, my freshman TC professor, made me into a more ethical consumer. Her class did more to teach me about the need for welfare and kindness in the treatment of animals than Upton Sinclair's book, The Jungle, ever could. I'm sure each of the graduates in this room can think back to their own world literature courses in Carruthers' basement, their Plan 2 seminars in RLP or Garrison or Calhoun, and other classes, and think about how each has shaped their beliefs, attitudes, and actions on and off campus. But Plan 2 didn't just give many of us wonderful professors or great classes. It gave a lot of us our closest friends. These people are also tiles in my mosaic, and I want to highlight just a few of them now. To Ashka Dige, my best friend and fellow Plan 2 graduate, thank you for showing me what Herculean leadership looks like. When the law didn't work for Ashka, she changed it. She ventured from campus right on down to the Texas legislature and testified in the Texas Capitol. To William Wallach, another Plan 2 friend, thank you for inspiring me. William was instrumental in helping me land an internship that fundamentally changed my professional trajectory. He showed me that true friendship is about lifting others up. And that leads me to my next point. The graduates in this room are ready to tackle anything the 21st century can throw at us. In many instances, our Plan 2 professors have asked us to come up with solutions to the world's problems, whether that be Mexico City, pandemics, and other issues. It's a practical exercise in helping the communities that have also shaped us. And by bringing together students from diverse cultural backgrounds, Plan 2 has placed a lot of us in some of the hardest conversations of our lives, those dealing with politics, religion, and other sticky issues. To my surprise, though, the back and forth dialogue with my peers has often been kind and empathetic, a divergence from some of the national things that we're seeing. In fact, it was through Plan 2 and its supportive community that I came to terms with my sexual identity. For the first time in my life, I felt like my authentic self. And my hope is that many of you have also unlocked hidden pieces of yourselves during undergrad, because we know that the only way a mosaic works is if you have every last tile. So I'm optimistic that as the graduates in this room will realize upon reflection that your experience on this campus are as beautiful and meaningful as mine. And I implore you to continue to look for your authentic selves, because you'll be eminently happier and impactful for it. In conclusion, it is our collective mosaics, the mural of each and every graduate in the audience today, along with our critical thinking, civic engagement, and radical kindness that enables all of us to be real instruments for change, regardless of how ordinary or extraordinary of a life you go on to live. Whatever you go on to do after today, my only ask is that you stop and uplift others in your communities along the way. Thank you and congratulations, class of 2022. I'd like to now turn over the floor to Tanya.
Thank you, Liam. Dear distinguished Plan 2 graduates and esteemed professors and guests, thank you so much for this opportunity to be here in front of you. When Liam and I were putting together the remarks for our speeches, we were sure to look at other past speeches for some inspiration, but not too much inspiration. I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Wetlaufer and the Plan 2 administration and staff for their efforts over the course of the past 4 years, and share a bit about my own experience in Plan 2 and how it shaped me here. Growing up, I saw myself as the lanky, singular Indian girl on the soccer field, someone who felt uncomfortable in her own skin, attuned to my physical differences, overwhelmed by the personalities of the other girls, and found comfort playing a supporting role on the team. I felt more safe as a listener, comfortable as a participant, and secure as a follower. The uncertainty and doubt I felt on the inside manifested on the outside. I didn't feel firm and attuned to my own beliefs, opinions, and worldviews. My disposition was, of course, a product of the developmental years of middle school, but also the lack of exposure to role models who look like me and a diversity of thought. The awareness and opportunities I've received in Austin through a Plan 2 education allowed me to find my voice, to utilize it to speak with authority while discussing thought experiments in Plan 2 philosophy, presenting about data regressions in Plan 2 logic, and discussing U.S. foreign policy in my junior seminar. Most importantly, Plan 2 allowed us to forge deep and authentic relationships with each other. Our friendships are grounded in a mutual respect for each other's passions and distinct subjects, curiosity to step into each other's intellectual worlds, and a shared mission to positively contribute to our communities, society, and planet. Everyone sitting in front of me has left deep impressions on each other, no matter our degree of familiarity, and no doubt will leave significant impacts on the communities, organizations, and institutions they will join and create. I would like to highlight a few individuals who I've admired up close and afar during my journey in Plan 2. I had the privilege of serving as a co-chair of the Plan 2 Student Association's Diversity Committee. I spent countless hours working closely with Brenna Boyd, whose presence is seen and felt by others. She taught those around her what it means to lead by example, push for progressive change equipped with facts, and just ask even if the answer might be no. Plan 2 students spearhead prominent student organizations, social groups, and university initiatives and bring with them their boundless curiosity, global perspective, and moral worldview. I realize that a lot of us in this room may still see some familiar faces or only know of each other, even on graduation day. For me, one of these people is Shannon Long, who I presented alongside during my thesis symposium. While I knew she was passionate about immigration reform, her commitment to bring awareness to the conditions on the border is profound and contagious. She is unafraid to show her raw emotions, no matter the personal cost, a testament to the authenticity and empathy many of you display when moving the needle on political and social issues on campus and beyond. Next, many of this room can attest to the transformative force that is Lee Walker. He embodies and encapsulates what it means to live a life guided by a purpose larger than oneself. Every class was an intimate chat with the movers and shakers of Austin, and he also brought us to them. We took tours of nonprofits, city services, and community resources, and with each time my hand got raised a bit higher. Taking courses outside your familiar college in the spirit of an interdisciplinary education can sometimes be uncomfortable. This was certainly the case in Dr. Paul Navratil's Plan 2 Logic course, which we dove headfirst into programming. While Python might not have stayed with us, Dr. Navratil, a Plan 2 graduate himself, his active commitment and investment into the Plan 2 program left an impression. I would ask of you, just as I will ask of myself, to give back to this program one day, which took a chance on us in whatever feels right to you. During this next phase of life, the feelings of uncertainty and doubt we experienced at our Voltaire's coffees, first day of world literature, or Plan 2 retreat may resurface as we embark on our own adventures. Be unafraid to imagine the realities of the world and rethink them. Make decisions based on trust, not fear, and remember to pause and reflect often. Ultimately, on this journey at UT, I had found my voice, but I realized it also meant nothing unless I used it to lend that voice to others. Thank you and congratulations, Plan 2 Class of 2020. We made it. 2022.